I'm Adam Argyle. I write songs and produce. That's pretty much it, really. I started off being an artist and then slowly got into songwriting, realised I loved that a lot more than being on stage and being the centre of attention.
Doesn't always look like you.
You start performing as a kid and then you lose the enthusiasm for it, and something I used to really love, which was being on stage and being in the spotlight, that's definitely something that as you get older that wanes quite a lot. The songwriting just slowly took over, and certainly the more artists that I've worked with since, you sort of realise that I was a terrible artist in the first place. So it's a really good job that didn't happen. And I've just been lucky enough that it sort of worked out, and I've been able to work with some amazing people. Newton Faulkner was sort of some of the first stuff that was out there. Melanie C was the person who first cut one of my songs. And then, Ollie Murs, Ella Eyre, 5 Seconds of Summer, a lot of those sort of pop sort of things. And then like Gabrielle Aplin, there's some new stuff coming out. So kind of a reasonably broad range. It was sort of bothering me of having too much stuff and people coming right here. And I try and have as many instruments as possible. It's got to be an inspiring place for music. And like I was saying to you before, my brain doesn't work in the producing and writing at the same time. So I didn't want everything to be about the computer and about all the outboard gear. I wanted it to be about the piano and the guitars, and let's try and create something musically great before we then go into all this sort of thing. And I just felt like all the gear was out overpowering all that. And so, just by looking at blogs and looking at what new things were coming out, I came across the Genesys Black. And I'd seen the other Genesys, which I thought was great, but it was, a definite mixing desk again. And the thing that attracted me to this was the fact that it just seemed to have everything that I was using just in one place, in one sort of tidy box. I was finding that I was getting more and more outboard gear, so I would have, stacks of preamps and, EQs and compressors and stuff. And it was just never my intention for my studio to feel like that or to look like that and to be so complicated. And as much as there's a definite edge with analog EQs and preamps and all that sort of thing, I'm not sure for me, when it was stacks and stacks and having to go to different sort of things and move around, whether that sort of sound outweighed the inconvenience of it. But having the recall for the EQ and the motorised faders when bringing mixes through is absolutely invaluable. I mean, that was one thing that really got on my nerves when I had EQs in racks, is looking at your piece of paper and trying to get it right, and it never quite sounds right. So I do love that feature, which I know is sort of a common thing on all these desks, but without having one before, that's brilliant. Again, doing everything on your own, you don't have the engineers to be able to get levels and all that sort of thing. So it's great to have everything mic'd up and just having presets within the Neve, which I always use for recording. All the drums are all on the same EQs, and it always sounds the same consistency, which is really important, obviously. And you can tweak, which is great, but it just sets a base for what sounds good straight away, and you don't have to, tom's too loud or the kicks distorting or whatever. You have everything in a preset, basically, so that's amazing. It wasn't as natural at first to use the faders, but then as soon as your mind clicks into that, it's really difficult to imagine using a mouse again, so you just want more and more and more faders. So I liked that was incorporated to it. I was already using the preamps at 1073, so the fact that had that was an added bonus. The monitor control selection, that was getting on my nerves as well, with having different knobs everywhere and switching. And so it all just seemed to have everything in one box, and I just really liked the idea of that. Getting rid of all my other outboard stuff and just been back in a nice tidy, let's concentrate on producing something, on making something in one place.